When it comes to Baldur's Gate 3, I took my time to review it because I really wanted to spend a lot of time in this game. It's not an easy game to review because there are so many options there, and I really want to make sure that I at least experience a great degree of what the game actually has to offer and not miss a big chunk of it. And by that I mean that if I decide to make a review only based on my first playthrough, it probably wouldn't be that representative because there's so much content that I actually missed in my first playthrough that I discovered in my second. Now this is the type of game that you need to a certain state of mind to really enjoy it fully. I shouldn't rush it, of course, whatsoever. I need to take my time and enjoy every moment of it. For me, and I can speak for myself, it brought the fun and excitement of the classic RPGs in a modern form that I would be excited to play them again. And throughout the years I played a lot of action games, but Baldur's Gate 3 really brought that excitement of turn-based games all over again, and big time. The graphic and presentation are amazing, the world itself is so detailed and therefore very immersive and fun to explore. Now I love dungeon crawling, and although this is not pinnacle like Elden Ring when it comes to the world design, still it designed so well that I really enjoy every moment exploring it. You're gonna find caves, you're gonna find secret areas and loot hiding in different places and puzzles and stuff, and it's just so exciting to do while you actually explore the world. The story and the characters, the development are amazing in this game. I mean, it's so much fun seeing an AI, an NPC that you actually interact with and you really feel engaged with. You can get in arguments, you can even fall in love with them. It's just so amazing seeing it happen on screen. And it's all based on your decisions. Of course, one of the downside, and some players might look at it like that, is that you need some luck in order to, well, pass through certain dialogues or even get some items that you might want to get, or you might want to do something with a certain NPC, but you might fail because of roll of a dice. Now, if you're going to play this game once, especially if you're a completionist, I can definitely understand you, but you're going to miss out so much when you bring this state of mind. The thing is, there are some great things happening with some decisions that you think they're maybe not good or maybe you failed, but you realize later that you actually find out something great in the game that otherwise, without actually failing it first time, you wouldn't discover. This is because the game is designed like that. There are so many decisions and some of them just not good and bad, it's just different. And you want to explore them, and this is why when you play second playthroughs you will discover so much more compared to even your first one. And I actually enjoy my second playthrough more than the first, way more. So you really need to bring a different state of mind when you play this game and not abuse the save, because again, otherwise you're really gonna hurt. Somebody told me that before I played the game because I was new to the D&D and new to this game, and of course I needed to take my time learning the game, but I now really understand why. So if you're among those who are doing like F5, F8, 8 all the times, it's not going to be easy for you. Maybe you're just gonna prevent yourself from having a great time, to be completely honest. The game is insane amount of replay value. The moment I finished the first one, I knew I had to go to the second one. And oh boy, the second one, as I mentioned, was totally different compared to the first one, and I discovered so many things. So with replay value, of course, you could choose different characters to play with, which of course feel different. And again, you're just going to discover more things because there's so many options and pathways that lead you to different outcomes, both in terms of story and discovering new locations. And of course, let's not forget the different dialogue options, the different companions that you can recruit. Really amazing replay value. Now let's talk about some of the things that I didn't like, and there are. For example, one of the things that really stood out, and again, and not in a good way, is that, when you have somebody as a face of the party and you do different interactions and certain checks, it's done with the face of the party. And sometimes you can have another character that is more skilled to actually doing those checks, but it won't do it because it's just going to do it with the one that you actually, the character you actually highlighted, the one you're actually playing, is the face of the party when you're doing the interaction. And again, because you don't know it ahead of time, it leads to frustration because you have somebody in the party you can actually do that, but you're just forced to use it, the one you'd actually chosen. And that can lead to frustration, no doubt about it, because you can actually deal with it, but because you're using a certain character that is not good with a certain type of check, you're gonna fail, most likely. The other thing is related to inventory management, because pretty hard. Again, it's not something that ruins the game or really impair it in a way that I won't enjoy it. But this is something that definitely can be improved. Hopefully in a future patch they can address it to make it easier for players to manage their inventory. And there's so many items, you don't actually know if you're going to need them later on, so you just keep collecting. Of course, when you play later on in future playthroughs, you'll know, so you know what to keep. The other thing is that because the world is so beautiful immersive, I really wanted to tilt my camera. Oh, I want this feature. Well, hopefully with a mod. There are also issues with some of the camera management because it really feels like kind of, you're controlling a 3D world basically, and most of the time it works well, but there's some issues that feel a bit clunky and not accurate. And I also felt that, in terms of acts, the first one was amazing. It just kind of fell a bit each time. Not something that really make it like breaking the immersion or fun for me. I just felt that it's kind of degrading a bit. There's also some performance issues here and there and bugs and glitches that hopefully will be addressed. Now, if you're new to D&D, there is a learning curve, and I had to play it on easy in order to learn it and not get frustrated. But once I learned it, it actually was a great advantage because I actually got into D&D 5e by just playing the game without actually reading books. I did watch a few videos, by the way, which can help, but again, it was just kind of introductory things, but the game actually really taught me things by just playing. Now, there are issues reported by others, requests not progressing correctly, or item disappearing, some crashes, and maybe some characters stuck in the terrain. But I didn't experience them, but there are of course some issues that people experience. We can't really have everything right in one playthrough and of course trying everything, but there are issues as well that people report that actually impair their gameplay experience to some degree. Others reported that, during the later acts, they felt that some of the quests for certain characters and NPCs were kind of a cut off or lacking. But again, if I take it as a whole and consider the fact that I'm really not, let's say, hardcore D&D players, that I can really spot all the little differences, none of them actually took from the entire excitement and gameplay experience for me. I really had a blast playing the game. Now, I also really like the character creation. We can really create the character that you want. There are lots of options, not too many by the way, but enough options to get you more, let's say, emotionally connected with the character that you created when you start playing the game. There are also quite a few companions that you can recruit, and basically I recommend, by the way, discovering it yourself because it's so exciting. This is a game that you don't want to follow wiki, by the way, because this might ruin your experience, and you might find out that you want to make maybe a different decision, but you just follow something and you need to do a certain thing, but you realize, well, otherwise maybe I should have done something else because this outcome is actually something that I prefer. So in Baldur's Gate 3, discovering things yourself is the highlight, and basically you don't really want to somebody to take that away from you. There's some things that if you get stuck, you can look, of course, no problem, some puzzles, but overall this is a game that it's all about exploring, discovery, and discovering this on your own. And also the game has lots of some humor, especially for certain characters. Again, each class is going to have its own different type of interactions, which is cool, and some of them are really funny, and some really cool interaction with them. I can't wait to try Bard, by the way, which I haven't tried as a main character. I'm probably going to do it in my next playthrough. Another cool thing is that you can decide the difficulty. If you just want to come and just enjoy it as a story, some do, well, you can do this. You might even try, if you're a new player, to just try on the easiest difficulty like I did, and then ramp up the difficulty once you know and understand the mechanics. It's there for you, and you can change it on the fly. Another thing that really enhances the gameplay experience is the amazing music and sound effects. The visual effects also are absolutely fantastic. You know, you can even see the smoke and the little particles, it's just made to perfection. You have so much freedom in this game as well, especially when it comes to environmental interactions. And it's still, till this day, when I look at Twitter, I see some players doing some crazy stuff, but just using different items and trying to see how they can actually eliminate enemies in very creative ways. And there's so many ways to do that. Now, I'm sure this is going to be celebrated by mods, by the way, but even without them, there's so many little things that I noticed. For example, when Astorini walked on the lava, when the camera did a close-up on him, it was actually kind of a sweating. So basically, you can see the real attention to details. So it doesn't matter, you know, when you try to look at things or if you decide to look closer at things, you can really see the high-quality attention to details in the game. You can't miss it. It's there all around you. The other good thing is the balance. The game is balanced so well when it comes to cutscenes, dialogue, combat. Everything is, and again, real-time, and you know, when you're actually exploring, and also turn-based. Everything designed is such a great balance that it doesn't think that one actually overweights the other and create an imbalanced gameplay experience. And although you won't find here a lot of RNG stuff when it comes to discovering loot, I think it's actually good. Especially if playing alone, you're doing a second playthrough, you want to kind of go into things, you know how certain loot where it is, and you get there, and then you can actually develop your characters in different ways without actually relying on just, you know, random type of drops. And there are things that are rarer to get, but you need to understand here, you're not like Diablo 4 killing many enemies and you can have tons of drops. It's not like that. So in that aspect, it's designed very well. And by the way, regarding turn-based, this is something I realized, that once you play Baldur's Gate 3, you just understand that you couldn't make it any other way. It's just perfect for a turn-based game, because again, you need to observe the environment, you need to make sure that you understand, how to use it properly in order to beat your enemies, position yourself. You need time to think, and the time to think you get when you actually play this game as a turn-based game. It's a very tactical game, and really you take your time actually just putting the effort in understanding what's in front of you and try to make the best both of the environment, your character positioning, and the skill you are using. Now again, you're gonna love discoveries. Discovering certain legendary weapons was amazingly satisfying, and those weapons are really powerful and strong, and you really enjoy them. Even until today, by the way, I'm still spending a lot of time trying to find different synergies. It's not easy, I have a lot to learn. So if you're new to the genre, you're gonna find it, challenging yet very satisfying once you're able to find a really cool synergy that works. Now, I do of course expect the developer to improve upon the things that I mentioned and other things that other players have mentioned, but does it take from the game as a whole? To very, very little degree. The game as a whole is an amazing CRPG game. And Baldur's Gate 3 definitely stands there among the best games I ever played. This includes Last of Us, Skyrim, Elden Ring, Half-Life 2. It's just there with them. This is high quality gaming, without microtransactions, without battle passes, without gaming as a service. You get a game as it is. It reminds me of the golden age of gaming, where you just got a game packed and you just play it and enjoy it without all the other stuff around it. You won't find any predatory microtransactions. It's all about the game. Make an amazing game and deliver it to gamers to enjoy. And even for those of you who don't into turn-based game, I certainly think you should give this one a try. As I told you myself, I wasn't a fan of turn-based games. I'm actually a big fan of action games. And the reason for that, I think, is the balance, and of course everything just being so high quality that you are totally immersed with it, and the combat is so enjoyable. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game you shouldn't miss. This game will be remembered and inspired by so many years to come. And the reason, by the way, you see all these numbers, those concurrent player numbers breaking records, it's because the game is just that good. The game is just that good. I'm pretty positive that those little things that I mentioned will be addressed, but it doesn't take from the game as a whole. Not for me. This is gonna stand as one of the pinnacles of video games in recent history. Now, of course, there will always be those who won't enjoy the game, those who will partially enjoy the game compared to others. The only way for you to really understand if the game is for you is to play it. And If you play it, you might discover something absolutely extraordinary. When I play it, this is something that I feel usually when I watch movies like The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. I know I'm into a great adventure, but whether it translates to something like that, well, with Baldur's Gate 3, it is. It's a grand adventure that you don't want to miss. I do hope that at least every year we're going to get at least one game that's going to be as good and fun as this game is. This is a must play. Thanks for watching.